Hey guys,
This is Ruby,
and Nicole.
and you're listening to She's All That. Welcome back to another episode of She's All That. We have decided to do a Q&A so you all can get to know us a bit more and feel a little bit more connected with us.
We have some pretty serious questions, but we also have some really silly ones, and I'm excited because I feel like we have some great stories to share. Ruby, do you want to start? Our first question is, what is a time that made the other one laugh? So when was the time that I made you laugh?
Okay. So during the time, I didn't find this funny because I was just thinking how loyal and selfless Nicole was or is. But we were out and I recently stopped talking to this guy. This was like 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, probably about 2 years.
And we saw him out with his buddies. And for those who don't know this about me, I love baking. I mean, that would be for sure one of my biggest passions. And he had a pie pan from a time that we baked together, and it was my pie pan. I was a little annoyed that he wasn't giving it back to me. So Nicole literally just crosses the street and starts having this full-on discussion with this guy in front of like, 5 or 6 guys, telling him to return my freaking pie pan. And obviously when I was seeing her across the street making this huge scene over the pie pan, I didn't think it was funny. I literally was like, wow, I have such a loyal friend. But now that I think back, I just can't help but laugh because I just can't believe Nicole would actually make a scene over a $5 pie pan.
I remember Ruby was like, Nicole, like you were actually really upset about the pie pan. And let me tell you something. I would not consider myself a super confrontational person.
No.
But when you mess with my friends or family, I'm coming for you. There is just very few things that I get upset about. But the moment you like upset my friend or do something to my friend or my family member, you better watch out. But I'll tell you, when I went over there, I was really just telling that guy that he needs to get back the pie pan. His friends, they were like, dude, why do you have her pie pan? And they were all teaming up with me. So
I just find it so funny because I couldn't hear anything she was saying, but I just saw her like facial expressions and her hand movements, and I'm just like, oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh. I kind of forgot about that.
Just know I'm very thankful that you did that. I never got my pie pan back though, but that's okay.
I know. I remember checking in a couple weeks later and you were like, I never got my pie pan. What the heck, dude?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Okay though. I have a pie pan now. So
okay, good.
That was good. So what is the time that I made you laugh?
Okay. I love this story so much. So you guys have to realize I took a solid hour going back and forth about stories of times that Ruby made me laugh because there is an endless supply of stories. So last Halloween, Halloween 2019, Ruby and I went to Seattle, and our friend Katie, shout out to Katie, who's probably listening, she lives in Seattle. So we were like, okay, we're going to celebrate Halloween in Seattle. And we did not coordinate our outfits at all. We just went with what we wanted to be. So Ruby was a housewife, right?
Yes.
Okay, so she wore the cute black dress and she had the apron and the yellow gloves and a huge ring. And she was the cutest housewife you've ever seen. And I was Elle Woods and Katie was, what was Katie?
Oh, the morning after or something.
The morning after. Okay, yeah. So basically the point of me telling you this is we didn't like go as a group costume, right? Mm-hmm. But I feel like we all, not really Katie so much, but Ruby and I we just took those costumes and I feel like we just lived them out. We were like walking down the streets of Seattle and I was nervous. I didn't think people would know who I was, but everyone was like, oh, hey, Elle Woods. And I was like, heck yeah. We were living our best lives that night. So we are out at some bar club in Seattle in our costumes. It's a girls' night. We're having so much fun. And then these 3 guys come up to us and are talking to us and all this stuff. And we kind of end up hanging out with them. And then they're like, oh, do you guys want to go to this house party? And granted, we didn't know these people at all, but we were like, do we want to go to a house party? Yeah, we want to go to a house party in this random house that we don't know in Seattle with these random guys.
I just want to say we are very spontaneous. It's like our friendship, the things that we have done, it's kind of like, wow, I cannot believe we actually did that. But go on.
I agree. Please do not judge our questionable judgment. And so we get in these guys' car. This is like the starting of like a murder documentary. Honestly. So we get in these guys' car and we go to this house party. And okay, I'm envisioning, I don't know about you, Ruby, I was envisioning this house party was going to be a lot of people. Like it's Seattle.
Huge. Yes.
Yeah. And this is like an intimate house party.
Actually, talking about that you mentioned that, the guy even said that his friend met Drake, that she was in Drake's music video. So even when he said that, I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be huge. I may meet someone famous.
Oh, I did not remember that at all. Wow. Mm-hmm. Okay. Basically, all of us are thinking, oh, this is going to be like a big house party, so it's not a big deal if we go. So we arrive at the house. There's only like 20 people there. Was it a duplex? I don't even remember. Okay. So we're hanging out at this house party, right? I am just channeling my inner Elle Woods. I am just flirting with all the boys, living my best life. You know, it's great. And, you know, we all kind of just went our separate ways, like not in an unsafe way, but we were just kind of mingling, talking to different people. And this girl comes up to me. I think it was the person that owns the house or owns the duplex. And she was like, I just love your friend. And I was like, oh, I mean, yeah, so do I. Which one? Katie, Ruby, who are you talking about? She's like, the girl that's dressed as a housewife. And I was like, oh, yeah, I know. She's amazing. And then she's like, yeah, I just love her. And then she goes away. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go find my friends because we're at this random people's house, you know? And I'm like walking around I find Katie. She's fine. Okay, let me go find Ruby. I'm looking around. And then you will never believe where I find Ruby. She is in these random people's kitchen. She's in their kitchen, okay? That's not unusual. That's fine. She's washing their dishes. She's literally in there in her housewife costume with her yellow gloves on, washing their dishes. And she is mad focused on washing the dishes. I literally was like, Ruby, what are you doing? And she was like, I'm washing their dishes. It's no big deal. I saw a lot in the sink and I just wanted to help out. And I was like, Ruby, that is channeling the Halloween costume to a whole new level.
I just want to say, I am not a huge fan of house parties. Like parties like that, I don't really enjoy them. And I just felt bad. I was like, man, I'm pretty sure people hosting these parties, the morning after just sucks because they have to clean up. So I was just trying to be nice and help them out a little bit and wash their dishes. But
no, yeah. Well, and now I'm like, well, this makes sense why that girl loved you because you were washing her freaking dishes. And so then I'm like, Ruby, get your hands out of the sink. Like, you know, like the yellow gloves are just there for effect. Like, you're not actually supposed to be washing dishes. And so then Ruby's like, I just have 2 more pots, Nicole, okay? And I just like was like, what in the world? I love this girl so much. That was one of my funniest moments. I feel like telling back that story, it doesn't sound as funny, but if you were there and everybody around you is drinking and blah, blah, and then Ruby's just in there freaking washing dishes. Who is this girl?
I had a feeling that you were going to share this story for sure. Okay.
It's just too good not to share.
Nicole, what is something you don't want to be doing in 10 years?
Something I don't want to be doing in 10 years. Oh, I feel kind of weird sharing this, but I just really could not imagine being happy in this scenario. So in 10 years, we will be 33 years old. And so in 10 years, I really, really don't want to be a stay-at-home mom that's 30 pounds overweight and can't lose my baby weight and has just had to give up my career and just feels sad. That sounds really dramatic, but I just, you know, when you like see in a movie or you just like see this and it's these moms are just so distraught, it seems like, because they're just like at home with 3 crying babies. Yeah, and they're just at home and then their husband works all day and then they come home and then they're annoyed at their husband just because they're sad about their own lives. I really don't want that.
I can so see that because you're such a go-getter and you're always you're goal oriented, you know, you always want to get things done. You're never like laying around in the house doing nothing kind of thing. So I totally see that.
What about you? What did you put for that?
So in 10 years, I hope I'm not questioning every decision I make. I have come to realize that I'm a very thoughtful person in every area of my life. And I tend to, when I make a decision, I get really scared that that wasn't the best decision I should have made for my life. And even if it's something so simple, like right now I'm trying to decide where I want to teach full time. And if I end up anywhere in Washington, it's going to be fun. You know, it's not like a sin if I teach in Seattle versus in Everett, you know, but I always just get so nervous and I just question if I made the right decision. But I'm trying to remind myself that God's plan is always going to be fulfilled. Yeah, I just hope I have a bit more confidence in my decision making and I make that decision and I go after it kind of thing.
I love that. That's a really good one. What did you say? So, this is our favorite memory of the other person.
Ooh.
So what is your favorite memory of me, Ruby?
Definitely when we went to, or I kind of answered like our favorite memory between like us.
Oh yeah.
I said the Thomas Rhett concert for sure. He wasn't that famous when we went to go see him. But the funny part was that we paid to go watch Thomas Rhett in concert, but he was just the opener for the concert. He wasn't even actually like the big star, the big country artist, which was Kenny Chesney, right? Yeah, I think it was Kenny Chesney's concert.
Yeah.
And so he was obviously a lot more famous at the time than Thomas Rhett. But yeah, we got there and we stayed for like the first hour of the concert, or maybe hour and a half, and that was literally just Thomas Rhett singing. And then the moment that Kenny Chesney hopped on stage, we were just kind of like, he's not really humble. He just thinks he's all that. So we left. But yeah, we paid just to watch the opener and not even the big star. I just loved it. And even though we didn't see Kenny's portion of the concert, I do think that Thomas Rhett did a lot better.
Oh, definitely for sure. I remember Kenny Chesney kind of going on stage and then everyone around us started to stand up because that's who they came for. And we were like, oh my gosh, this Kenny Chesney guy is so full of himself and we do not like him. You know, it's hard to come after Tommy because he's such a stand-up guy with just an amazing family and a beautiful wife, and then got a downgrade to Kenny Chesney. I mean, we couldn't do it.
And he also just like when he hopped on stage, he wasn't wearing a shirt and he just was not humble at all. I didn't like that side of him. So we were kind of just over it and we got the experience that we wanted.
So dramatic.
We're
oh my gosh.
Faithful fans. What is your favorite memory of us?
My favorite memory with Ruby was when we were in Costa Rica. And we were staying in a hostel and we had all of our accommodations. We already had paid for everything. And we were at this beach that was pretty, but then everyone told us to go to this different beach and just check it out for a day. So we got a taxi. What was it, like 30-minute drive away? Okay. So we go over to this other beach. We fell in love with this beach. It was gorgeous. It was beautiful, amazing. And we were like, oh my gosh, let's stay here. And so literally we go to this little hotel right by the beach and we're like, hey, did we get 2 nights there or just one?
One night.
Okay. We're like, hey, can we get 1 night here actually? And so we paid for the hotel. We got 1 night there. We drive back to our other hostel. Well, we get a taxi back to the other hostel, pack up all of our stuff, leave early, go to the other hotel, stay there for a night, stay at this beautiful beach. And I don't know, I just feel like that was such a testament to our friendship because we both are just always on the same page and we are so spontaneous with things and I love it. It just was such a great moment.
I agree too. I think what I loved about it too is that it was our second to last day in Costa Rica. So that was going to be like our last night in Costa Rica and then we were leaving, I think the following day or the day after or something like that. So I just loved and definitely the margaritas there at that beach, wowzers, my favorite one by far. It was like, that's like what I remember about that beach too. It's beautiful, the sand, the scenery, but the margarita there was like, oh my gosh. That
Oh
kind.
my gosh, yes, this is
Uh-huh.
all coming back to me. Those drinks were bomb.
They were
Yeah.
definitely.
Okay, next question. What's one thing that you had to learn the hard way?
One thing I had to learn the hard way was the importance of putting myself first and loving myself for sure. I've been in only one relationship, and that relationship was really unhealthy. And the only good thing that came about it was the lessons I learned. And I would just
Mm-hmm.
give, and it was never reciprocated. And I always supported him. I was doing things for him, helping him reach his goals, but I never did anything for myself. And so I think that is why I struggled so much when we broke up, because the first 6 months, I didn't know what to do with myself. I went down a horrible path. I didn't know what I wanted to do in life other than obviously be a teacher. I didn't have any passions. And the biggest thing is that I didn't know what made me happy, because for 4 years, my happiness was dependent on my ex-boyfriend. And I don't necessarily think it was his fault. I think it was more so I wanted to help him and make his life easier. And I never thought about myself. I learned that the hard way, but I'm so happy I did, because I'm so in love with my life and how faithful God has been. And I think that's why I love my single years so much, because
Mm-hmm.
I've never really struggled with loneliness or wanting to like be in a relationship. And I think it's because I look back at my experience and I just want to live my life to the complete fullest. And that has been so satisfying and enough for me that I've been doing everything that I've always wanted to do.
That is so good, because it's so easy to do. Like, it's so easy to drop your own things and just give, especially with your personality, Ruby. And so I think every girl needs to learn that lesson.
I
And I'm
agree.
sure a lot of people have learned that the hard way. So
I
that's
agree.
awesome.
What is one thing that you had to learn the hard way?
One thing I had to learn the hard way is that you care about yourself and your career and your passions more than anyone else does. For me, I really learned that when I moved out here where I live now, and they, promised me a job, and then they were like, actually, we don't know if we have a position for you. And basically my takeaway from that whole situation was you have to advocate for yourself, because ultimately you're just a number. If you leave your job, they're just going to find someone to replace you. No one cares more about your success than you do, because you are replaceable at the end of the day. So don't make your career your life, because your career isn't really giving you back anything. That was a huge lesson I learned.
I agree. I think too, it's the whole idea of not putting your identity. Your identity is not placed in just your job, your friendships, your family, anything, because they will always disappoint you. And like you said, you can get replaced. And if your identity is in your career, that's going to suck, because your students, the principal, the staff, everyone is going to let you down. The scores are going to let you down. And you have to definitely advocate for yourself and ask for what you want and what you need in order to be successful, because at the end of the day, they don't care as much as you do.
Totally. And that's just, I think too, where I really was like, I need to put my identity fully in Christ. That was a huge lesson I learned. Ooh, I like this one. So I'll do yours first. This is about describing the physical appearance of Ruby's ideal mate. So this one, I'm not gonna lie, I literally was very puzzled about this, because when I first met Ruby, I remember we were talking about our non-negotiables, we were talking about our preferences, and Ruby was telling me about green eyes. She was like, I love me some green eyes. And she was saying how she prays about guys with green eyes. She wants her husband to have green eyes. She loves green eyes. And so I was like, green eyes, I've got it. Okay, we're going to be praying for this. And then in college, I feel like from when I knew you, was dating white guys, like with light eyes. And so I was like, okay, that's totally her type. And then 3 months ago, and you're like, I'm only dating Hispanic guys. And I was like, oh, okay, so are the green eyes out of the picture now? Like, are we not into that anymore? And then you would say that, and then you would send me a picture of some blonde haired guy and be like, oh, look how cute he is. What is going on here? Who do you like? And so basically what I've come to realize about Ruby is that she likes everything as long as they're attractive. I don't think you have a type. I just think if they're attractive, then they're attractive and you're attracted to them. There's not a specific hair color or skin color or height or anything. I just feel like if they're a good quality man who is physically attractive, you're down.
Mm-hmm.
What do you
Well,
think?
now that I think back and I think about all the guys I've dated or I've gone on dates with, it's pretty diverse, honestly. You know,
Yeah.
I have dated like Filipino guys and Indian, white guys, Hispanic men. Like, it's pretty diverse. So yeah, if you're cute and you love Jesus, it's kind of just, yeah.
Right. That's a good thing. That's really good.
Yeah, I don't have one.
But it is a little confusing for me when I answered this question. I was like, you know, Ruby's pretty much shown me every type of like guy, so I don't really know what she likes. I'm pretty sure she likes everything.
I don't even think there's one thing in common between all the guys that I've
met. How would you describe the physical appearance of my ideal mate?
Okay, so this question makes me think of a Valentine card that I gave you a couple years ago. I don't know if you remember it, but
yes.
The card said something like, I'm sorry that this card isn't from a tall, dark, handsome man, and then it goes on and talks about how much I love Nicole and stuff. But I think that is definitely her ideal physical appearance. A tall guy, physically fit. Nicole, you know, you eat pretty healthy and you exercise, you care about your physical appearance, and definitely not someone who's blonde with like a light complexion. I can so see her with someone who has darker physical features.
Totally.
I think, but am I right?
Oh yeah, you're totally spot on. Tall, dark, and handsome. It definitely has to go to the gym as well. So you're right.
Okay, what is the best compliment you've ever received?
For me, this actually was a compliment I received not too long ago, and I feel like was my word of my life that I just always strive for is authentic. And so I just loved it. I was like, this is just so thoughtful. And she said, you are so authentically raw. You don't see that in a lot of people, and I think it scares people. You are so unapologetically you. I don't know. That just, it meant a lot to me because I feel like that's just everything I strive for. So that was awesome. What about you?
So for those who don't know, my love language, without a doubt, is words of affirmation. So I love being told why they love me, and I love receiving compliments, like, no doubt. So anyways, I was babysitting. This was in like September or November. And the boy was playing on the playground, and I started talking to this random mom. And we honestly only talked for like 15, 20 minutes. And at the end, she told me that I have a warm presence and I was a breath of fresh air. And I don't know, it's not the most extravagant compliment. And I think my loved ones have said lovelier compliments than that. But I loved it so much because it was from a complete stranger, you know? And for a stranger to see my personality and my character right away and compliment that, I don't know, it hit different. And it made me happy that outsiders can see that in me and my friendliness and my positive outlook in life. So that definitely is one of my favorite compliments.
I feel like that is so obvious to so many people when they meet you. You do have such a warm presence. You know what I mean? Like you just have this beautiful energy that you just make people feel good around you and feel like loved and valued. And I love that about you.
I think I'm just so used to me that I don't see that, you know?
Right.
I guess I'm just really used to myself, and I think that's why I love being complimented. What
would be the theme song of my life? I have a great one for you. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. I don't know if you'll know this song, but I came across the song last week and I was running and I was so happy because I had a good excuse to actually take a break and download the song on my phone. And I listened to the song. It was like on repeat as I was running the whole time. Yeah, because I'm so obsessed with the song. So the song is called Just Fine by Mary J. Have you heard it?
No? Just Fine?
Yeah, Just Fine. It's not like just fine as in like you're hot and like, you know, just fine as in you're doing great kind of thing. But it's a song about uplifting yourself and having a fun outlook in life. And I think that's very you. And there's like a quote or a lyric that says, I put my hardest, gonna live my life. And I would say that you're definitely an achiever. You're a go-getter. You have goals, but you also enjoy life and you have fun. And so, yeah, and the song goes on talking about living your best life and being confident and doing all the things that you love. There's like a ton of lyrics that talk about do the things that make you happy, do the things that you love. And I think that's just the theme song of your life. It just screams Nicole. So,
oh my gosh. Thanks,
download
Ruby.
it. Okay. Download the song, Nicole. I promise you're going to be like, yes.
Tell me the name one more time.
Just Fine by
Just Fine.
Mary J.
Love. Thanks, Ruby. That is so sweet.
So what is my theme song?
Okay. I feel like you might know this song, especially if I'm not going to play it on here, obviously, but if you played it, I think you would know it. It's called That's My Girl by Fifth Harmony.
I don't think
let me just read I think if you listen to it, you would be like, oh, this song. Let me just read some lyrics to you because this just screamed Ruby. Okay, it starts, that's my girl. Yeah, who's been working so hard. You got that head on overload, got yourself this flawless body aching down from head to toe. And then it says, you've been down before. It goes like this. You've been down before. You've been hurt before. You got up before. Do you know this at all? Does that ring a bell?
No, I don't know this song.
Okay. But it's saying like, you've been hurt before. You've been down before. You got up before. You'll be good to go. You'll be good to go. Get mad independent. Don't you ever forget it. I don't know. It's just like, that's my girl. Oh, this is how it goes. That's my girl. Does that ring a bell?
Yeah,
No?
I think you should definitely audition for American Idol too.
Oh my gosh, people are gonna be like,
I love the voice.
It's such a good song.
I love it. My eyes are watering, Nicole.
It's true.
Oh, I'm gonna have to download it and listen to it. That might be the song that I'll be listening to as I'm running now. So our dream job.
Okay, go ahead.
So if I weren't a teacher, I would love to be a domestic violence counselor, specifically for teenagers and young adults. I think that many people don't know what a healthy relationship actually looks like, especially young people, because of media and society and the people that they're around. And I have dealt with domestic violence, and it took me a year to tell people about the abuse, and it took me 3.5 years to actually heal from it. And so mostly because I avoided the hurt and the trauma instead of actually taking care of myself and acknowledging the pain. So I would just love to be a mentor and help victims to get out of unhealthy relationships or help heal from that trauma. And I know that in my future, I will be a part of an organization if I volunteer or if I'm a mentor to help young girls, kind of give them advice and help them out and get out of that. But yeah, I would love to be a domestic violence counselor.
I love that, Ruby. You'd be really good at that.
What is your dream job?
Okay, so I wrote a travel blogger because I think it would be so fun just to travel for a living, and you just get to see the world and share that with other people. And yeah, hands down, I could do literally one of my favorite things to do in the world and get paid for it. Heck yeah, sign me up.
I can definitely so see you doing that. So that's very you. So we kind of want to talk a little bit about the title of our podcast, She's All That, because to me, when I think of it and I see it, I'm like, oh, she's all that. It kind of sounds like you're stuck up and preppy and just like all that, you know? But it's more so that you feel good about yourself and you are capable of so many things because of your personal growth and your character and the knowledge from your experiences. And you're literally living your life the way that you want to live it, not based off comparing yourself with other people, but you are all that because you're living your life the way you want to live.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And I think some of our podcasts can tie that in. So like, for example, a couple episodes ago when we talked about online dating, if you love online dating and it's totally for you and you just feel like you're living your best life when you're online dating, then you are all that because you're being authentic, you're being true to you, and you're living your best life. You know what I mean? Whereas like if you're walking away from things that don't serve you, or you are saying, you know what, I'm not living my best life, I'm not my true self, I'm not being authentic to me, then who cares if other people are doing it, because you're being true to you. And that's what makes us look at people and say, she's all that. You know, when you're being authentic, you're living your best life and you are not letting fear get in your way. And so I feel like that's kind of what we think of, and that's how we want to see the podcast name.
Totally. Also, we have made an Instagram page for our podcast. It's She's All That Pod. So please go support us and follow it. We will also be doing a giveaway soon. So you'll most definitely want to be following us so you can be a part of it and participate and win some really awesome goodies.
Yes, that will be super fun. We will be doing that probably in the next couple of weeks. So we will keep you updated on Insta and also on the pod. All right. Anything else before we say goodbye?
No, I think I've said everything. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
All right. Bye, guys.
Adios. Besos.